Sleep paralysis Redditors, what was the most terrifying experience you ever had? I heard this strange voice laughing. I couldn't open my eyes or move to see where it was coming from. Then I felt pressure on my back and heard and felt someone breathing on my neck. 2 out of 5 would not recommend to a friend. I had a horrific nightmare where I was watching a man brutally murder someone. I woke up in peak fear, unable to move, eyes open, but I could still hear that man talking in my house. It scared me bad enough I made my husband go check the house for the boogeyman when I could finally move. This shadow-like figure in the shape of a human was basically standing over me and choking me. Regret not calling him daddy. The feeling as though someone's approaching me to hurt me, but I'm completely incapable of reacting to it. Nothing really happened, but it's so fucking scary being conscious but not being to move. What so fucking ever. I usually hear noises that gets louder and louder or feel a presence near me which gets closer. This makes me freak out as I try to desperately wake up and in turn causes me to have breathing issues. I can sometimes struggle so much to breathe that I fall back to sleep due to being exhausted. Wake up a couple minutes later, rinse and repeat. Door knocking. Hard, and in an endless loop of rapid burst followed by silence. Glued to my bed, unable to vocalize anything of course. If an episode of sleep paralysis could make you lose your mind. Saw a massive spider lower itself from my bedroom light to my privates. Woke up right as I felt it squish in my grip. Woke up, couldn't move. Noticed a yellow light at the foot of my bed, then several voices started talking to me and I could picture these like 2-foot alien dudes with yellow hair talking to me. Then passed right the fuck back out when they were done. Saw a cat-sized rat scurrying around my room in the corner of my eye. I have no pets. I was on an overnight shoot in an area with 10,000 feet elevation in the middle of nowhere with zero service. It was freezing and I was very sick, so I went to sleep in the production van. I heard someone say, "Oh, she's still asleep," but I kept my eyes closed and it felt like someone held me down and kissed me, which was really fucking terrifying, especially when I realized I couldn't move and I tried to yell for help but nothing was coming out. It probably lasted less than a minute, but it felt way longer. Eventually I was able to snap out of it and they sent me back to the hotel for the night. Felt like I was pulled out of my body and hurled into like the void. I couldn't stop falling or wake up. I dreamt I was looking at a face of terrible demon. A rock painting kind of horrible monstrosity. I woke up and saw the same face in the dark. I couldn't scream, tried to turn on the light but couldn't move. I could feel myself pushing against the barrier of the dream by trying to move, if it makes sense, and finally it snapped and I woke up. Shaken, I quickly turned on the light. The face disappeared, though I still could feel the after image of it. Too afraid to go to sleep after that. It was 3 AM, cause I knew it would be waiting in my dreams again. I've only had one case of sleep paralysis. When I woke up my arm was physically laid over my eyes so I couldn't see anything. I couldn't move it out of the way. I just heard 2 men pacing back and forth in front of my bed. Then I hear a chainsaw rev up as the second one started mumbling some shit that I couldn't understand even though it was in English. It was just that for I forgot how long. All of a sudden it stopped, gained control if my body, got up from my bed, took a look around and asked myself what the fuck was that. Just the feeling of not being able to move or say anything is scary enough for me in the beginning. After the 10th time or so, I just go here we go again and try to move my hands so that I can slap myself and snap out of it. Works every time. Heard my mother's muffled voice repeatedly calling my name from outside my bedroom door, then a tonal shift that indicated she had entered the room. Footsteps grew louder as she slowly approached my bed until the source of the voice revealed itself to be an unnaturally tall demonic presence with glowing blue eyes. It just sort of mocked me as I laid there powerless to scream for help for what felt like an eternity. That was my first paralysis experience, and it occurred shortly after my first lucid dreaming episode when I was around 19. Also, the time I thought there was a clown masturbating outside the window directly behind my headboard. He told me that he was going to bust a nut my head, torture and murder my girlfriend, then tickle me until I couldn't help but smile about it. I'm not sure if this classifies as sleep paralysis, but sometimes I wake up in my bed and try to get out of my room. I can move, but if I try to exit through the door, window, call for help, or other means of escape, everything resets to when I'm back in the bed just waking up. The room gets darker every time I wake up to have another go as well. Posted this a few days ago. I was like trapped in my body. Could hear, see and feel my surrounding, but couldn't move. Couldn't scream or speak. My lips moved without a noise. If I was moving my arm as an example, it felt like I'm doing it, but physically my arm didn't move. My ex-girl couldn't believe me until I told her exactly what the TV was saying. After that she was shocked, because she could clearly see that I fell asleep before. One night I woke up lying on my back, unable to move, with a tall black figure standing to my right. Can't move, can't scream, can't cry for help, nothing. Obviously terrified and unable to turn away, I continue stare at the shadowy figure, but it doesn't move. I started to feel an immense weight pushing me down into my bed all over my body, when suddenly I'm able to move and I spring upright. Then I woke up. Woke up to the exact same scenario. Then I experience the same thing and then I wake up again. This happened 2 more times until I finally woke up for real. I was fucked for a couple of days after that. I couldn't tell if I was actually awake or not, because I had woken up in a dream within a dream multiple times, Inception style. My girlfriend was at work. I fell asleep and woke up paralyzed. I heard the front door open and my GF walking in, taking her coat off, etc. And then I could hear her walking towards our bedroom. I was paralyzed face down, weird since it usually happens to me face up, getting close to me. I could feel her presence next to me, and then she started pushing my head in the pillow, suffocating me. I snapped out of it covered in sweat and gasping for air. Obviously my GF was still at work. I absolutely love sleep paralysis. The first time it happened was pretty scary, but since then I've done a fair bit of study into it, and now I get excited when it happens. Sleep paralysis is 100% just the pre-lucid dream stage. If you power through sleep paralysis and just go with it, soon after you will enter into a full-blown lucid dream and have a great time. I've had it multiple times. First time was terrifying because I have no idea what was happening. Luckily it ended quickly. The next times I knew what was going on, didn't panic and feel back asleep. Lying down, noticed that lights outside are on. Then the lights next to my room is on. Then lights in my room are on. Every time I open my eyes lights are getting closer to me. Then sensed something hovering on top of me. Being a calm person, I know SMTH will surprise me if I open my eyes, so I just did. Never did I expect to see some kind of nun wearing black with a face painted white. It was a white face, with no eyeballs. Can't move and just stared at its eye holes and face. I woke up after forcing myself to shake and scream. I don't remember what exactly I saw, but laying on my back unable to breathe, it's terrifying to know that you have to take a breath but physically not being able to do so. I was visiting family and sleeping on the couch in the living room when I felt something tugging on my waist. I felt myself being pulled into the crack between the couch cushions but couldn't move or scream, so I just watched in horror as the living room went black, and then I was face to face with this shadowy creature with glowing eyes. Most WTF experience I have ever had, and I shot up the moment I could move and got the fuck away from the couch. Laughing clown chase that went through a row of identical looking, never-ending windows, with vision cascading across a planular field, distorting like an earthquake every time he laughed. But you hustle 'cause you know that big toe's gonna wiggle any time now. Any time now. Oh boy, so many. Hooded figures, aliens wearing some sort of light-bending camouflage. Dead people telling me about their murders and where to find the bodies. Invisible people stroking my hair and grabbing my ass. And one time I watched a tentacle spider monster thingy climb around my door frame and scuttle across the roof. I get this shit really bad. To the point where it takes quite a lot to scare me now when I'm in that state. Not terrifying whatsoever. Only happened once to me. But I woke up at night, eyes were open. Thought it was strange, tried to move but couldn't and felt some pressure on my chest. Simply just closed my eyes and went to bed as I was tired and couldn't be bothered to try and figure out what was going on. Had much more terrifying sleep experiences than this. Sleep paralysis. Every time is the most terrifying thing imaginable. That's what makes it so terrifying. It's usually alien related. Heard legions of demons growling at the foot of my bed and I couldn't move or speak. Not as scary as some of these, but I was sleeping on the bottom bunk and woke up unable to move. Stuff started flying off the top bunk. I was alone in my room, and then everything started like dissolving. Then I heard, in my own voice but echoing around me and not coming from my body, "You're losing your mind," and then I could move again and everything looked normal. I have a few because I used to get sleep paralysis a lot. First was when was a creepy child figure, cloaked in a black darkness walking back and forth next to my bed. And then second one that scared the shit out of me. I was laying in bed and my eyes are open but I can't move for the life of me. Then I feel my neck burning like hot fire, then an ominous figure behind me starts chanting demonic chants. I'm not religious, but I honestly thought it was a demon. The usual is me laying on my back, eyes open, immobile, and a dark creature choking me out, me unable to scream. Luckily I haven't had one in a couple years. Just starting getting this about a month or two ago. Had one recently where I was aware it was happening, so I didn't open my eyes, I refused to. I remember the thing in my room was yelling for me to open my eyes, and eventually just said fine. Then I felt it pick my body up from my bed and quite literally throw me against the wall, the whole time my eyes closed, and hog-tie me on the floor. Then I woke up, and was struggling to remember if it was all a dream, or if I had actually done those things. Incredibly vivid and definitely the worst I've had.